What's going on, Tamers? It's your boy Varney, and today we are doing a little bit of a different video. This is unscripted, and I'm going to do a lot of talking head because I kind of want a platform where I can kind of just talk about decks. So this is going to be like you're going to see a deck profile. Obviously, you already know by the title. This is a Nature Spirits video. But I kind of want to lead it off with my thoughts on the deck before I get into the actual deck profile. So if you came here for a deck profile, you can jump ahead to this timestamp that I'm going to throw up on the screen. And I'm just going to sit here. I'm not going to really edit this. You're going to kind of just hear my raw and candid thoughts. Like I said, I didn't write a script for this. And the reason I'm doing this is because I was talking about it with my boys. Shout out to Cliff and Dan. I was talking about Nature Spirits, and it's so tough. So the background is I was looking forward to playing Nature Spirits because I think Nature Spirits is a really cool deck. All the field decks are. And I was waiting to play Nature Spirits until we got the new Nature Spirits field card. For those of you who don't know, it's a 2-drop option. And when you play it, you add your bottom security to your hand, and you put Nature Spirits as your bottom security face up. And the effect that it gives is all your NSP trait Digimon gain alliance. Really cool security effect. You may play one level 5 or lower NSP from your hand. Now, I really wanted this to be good. I really wanted it. I thought this was going to take the deck and give it what it needs to really pack in some punch, because the one thing NSP had was board spam, but you had nothing to do with those bodies, right? It's like, I can take chip damage, but but now you have alliance, so you can use those extra bodies and apply some additional pressure. You get some bigger swings. You get, sec +1. But I won locals with it yesterday, and the whole time I was just like, man, this isn't it. So what I want to talk about today is my feels. Like, I'm going to do what I normally do in deck profiles, where I talk about, matches and how I felt the deck performed. But I'm going to do that more as a talking head video more than I'm going to do it while, I'm showing the cards. So you guys get to see this beautiful face for a good portion of this video. So I apologize if that's not what you came here for. But in the year of 2025, we're trying to make new content. We're trying to connect with different types of audiences, because we've got the competitive players, we've got the casual players, we've got the in-betweens, the people who are teetering on, I compete, but I also like my casual. Like, we're trying to touch all facets of the audience, so we're gonna see how this works. Anyways, what I want to start off with is Nature Spirits. I already said it's a really cool deck. What I feel that the deck is, I can't even say what I feel the deck is lacking. It just, you can tell that it was the first iteration of these types of decks that Bandai was trying to create. And that's both a good and a bad thing. It's a good thing because, they're exploring. It's a bad thing because it means that it's gonna be flawed. And when I say that, I want to take a look at Deep Savers more in depth. Deep Savers, to me personally, it may not necessarily be better. It may not be all that much better, but to me, it feels like Deep Savers is more coherent. It feels like it has a better strategy, and it just feels like it plays better together. In the words of my boy Cliff, what it really feels like is Nature Spirit's best card is Eldraudimon, which is both a good and a bad thing. It sucks because Eldraudimon is really good, but it just doesn't do enough. I guess let me put it this way, right? I half expect this deck to compete into the meta. If I come up against Mirage, I expect to get absolutely mollywopped. But if I come up against the likes of, I don't know, Imperial, I kind of expect to be able to do something. Outside of Imperial being uber fast, I kind of expect to be able to do something, I mean, let's look at it in this way, right? A Saber Leo Ace should be able to get rid of a Pyodramon. because you negate on it. Now they will partition, if I'm remembering the way that partition is worded, because it's just, I think it's when it would leave not by one of your effects or by battles. So yes, DP reduction will trigger partition, you spit out bodies, and then they can do it again. And then that does suck ass. And that's a bigger problem than just, you know, that's an entirely different issue of its own. But you should be able to deal with a Pyojimon, right? Like, that's what I'm getting at. But then, I don't know, let's say you come up against a deck like Purple Hybrid. Purple Hybrid's really going to clear your board. And there's nothing you can do about that. You don't have access to scrambles. You can't. You can arguably play scrambles in both Nightmare Soldiers and Deep Savers, because even though they have 3 different color rookies, I believe. Well, actually, Deep Savers benefits because they have 2 blue rookies and 1 purple. So you can just shirk the purple rookie and run some more blue stuff, and then you can run scrambles, trainings, mem boost. Nightmare Soldiers, you have red Candlemon, a yellow Tapirmon, and a purple Demi Devi. So it's a little bit harder for you, but because you're a purple base primarily, you can get away with shirking the other 2 and trying, you can run like your techs, but you could run 8 purple rookies because you can run the Gabus, because those are really good cards. And I think I'll see if I can remember to get to that later. What I was trying to say is, it feels like Nature Spirits should play well into the meta being its own thing, but you inherently have to play that deck a little bit defensively because of the nature of the way the deck is. It's such a weird deck. It doesn't have a game plan. Like that's what I thought the Nature Spirits field card was going to do. I thought it was going to make it a kind of like board spammy aggro deck that, you know, in the way that Fenrir, or at least older Fenrir, used to just use bodies, swing alliance, and apply big pressure. But it doesn't even feel like it does that consistently and well enough. Eldrazi spits bodies out, which is cute, but you know, sometimes you can get cucked by can't play Digimon out by effects. And I guess you have a way to deal with that because you have Starmons, but I think that's it. And I mean, for what it's worth, like, you know, that's the purpose of those floodgates. Those floodgates are supposed to be able to deal with decks in that way. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm, like I said, this is unscripted. I'm kind of just spitballing. I'm just throwing shit out as it pops into my mind. The big thing that I do actually want to touch on though is Nature Spirits is such a smorgasm, whatever the fuck the word is, smorgasm board of all these different Digimon from different colors with different effects, which is cute, but it's not cohesive. And it's the important thing there is that it's not cohesive. It's really, you can't put any, your best consistency piece is Ukomon and Analog. I don't like either of those because they're not traded. Well, okay, I can't argue against Ukomon. Ukomon's whatever, right? But I don't like sacrificing my eggs like that, in that deck at least. Which is a whole other topic about the Wanyamon and the Motimon, whatever. Let's say you run the Ukomon, you're probably gonna have to cut down on NSP trait cards elsewhere. And then Analog Youth, you don't want to be trashing your pieces. Like, you really don't want to be trashing them. And to really get something, you're out of running Analog Youths, you'll probably want to run like 3 because you have a Tentomon Search. And first of all, Tentomon Search is okay. You get to pull 1 NSP trait and 1 Insectoid. So it kind of encourages you to run more of the Insectoid cards, but the Insectoid cards really aren't that good. And the reason I'm really like harping on that is because, again, I'm looking at Deep Savers and I just think about how much more versatile that deck can be. I really can just forego running Siakomon. I can run the Crabmon. I can run the Gomamon. So that's my 8 Deep Saver rookies. And then I can run whatever else. I can run the goated BT14 Gomamon that opponent's turn when deleted. I get to play out Gomamon from source. I can play, I'm sure there's plenty of other good blue rookies you can run. Shit, you can run Madoki Betamon and what's it called? The NSP one, Otamamon. So you have now a memory one and a play cost one, which is pretty good, right? In Nightmare Soldiers, yeah, you can just run Demi Devi, your 4 Gabu, and then run a couple Candlemon because that card seems good regardless of what deck you played in, and a couple of the Tapirmon because, you know, Memory Floodgate. But Nature Spirits just doesn't feel the same way. And then, again, just harping on what I said earlier, if you decide to go all blue base Deep Savers, or most blue base, or just keying in on the fact that the entire line you can build that it's pretty much blue base, you can get away with running Blue Scramble, Blue Memory Boost, Mental Training. You can get away with those cards and it doesn't really hinder your strategy. As a matter of fact, it helps. You're finding pieces, you're getting cost reductions, you're able to gain memory. I mean, Scrambles alone, right? Scrambles alone. So that's why I'm like, Nature Spirits, I really want to like this deck, but it just doesn't do enough. It just doesn't, and it sucks, and I don't know what it needs to really catapult it. Like, I guess not even like a dedicated tamer, but I can't put with some decks, I'm like, this is what I need for this deck to be good. Nature Spirits, I really can't say like, I need this piece for this deck to be good. I need, you know, I need to be able to play this, or I need to find a way to put this in so that this deck is good. It just feels like Nature Spirits is forever going to suffer from the identity of being the first deck that Bandai created, the first field deck that Bandai created. And we're going to have to live with it, you know, like that's what it feels like until we get some other SR strat that is like, oh yeah, here, this is the cornerstone of the deck. This is what brings it all together. You know, I guess that's another gripe that I have. I'm just going to talk about a bunch of gripes. Saber Leo. No, let me reverse. Herc is a trap. That card is a trap. I was looking forward to playing it, and then every time, the first time I was like, yeah, we good. And then I read the effect and I was like, it's not as good as I thought. You have to suspend up to 3 Digimon, and then for each Digimon that the effect suspended, you gain memory. You don't gain memory for each suspended Digimon your opponent has, which sucks because it makes it a lot worse. It really does make it a lot worse. So, I mean, I was already playing a 3-2 split of Saber Leo to the Herc, but then like Herc doesn't have, or no, sorry, not Herc. Saber Leo doesn't have blocker, so you need the Jagamon on the field. And now you need a 2-card combo for Saber Leo to work in a way that it should work. The deck is really cool with the inheritables. When this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle and survives, all turns, trashes security. Combo with Saber Leo Ace, that's really cool because you can blast, suspend stuff, -8. You get to unsuspend if there's nothing unsuspended. And then if you have blocker, you can block, and then boom, you know, you can get past, you can trash a security, get past the attacking Digimon, but you gotta have Jagamon on the field. You don't even have a blocker inheritable, right? Like, this is what I mean. It's like, it's got all these cute little concepts, all these cute things that work together, but they don't come together enough to really say, this is why I'm winning this game. I won some games just because I played Nature Spirits turn 1, and then 2 alliance swings, or I guess 1 alliance swing on like a level 5 with a level 4 was 12k. And then next turn I do the same thing again because my opponent didn't deal with it, and then I win. And the next game I won because, yeah, sure, I got Tlaloc on board, and Tlaloc is cute, but all I'm doing is just swinging and deleting stuff, you know? And it's not to downplay what Tlaloc is capable of doing. I think, you know, being able to swing and wipe things off the field is uber disgusting. But in the face of Medieval Galamon, what do you do? I know. Sorry, it's my daughter. Like I said, it's gonna be a talking head. I'm not really cutting this. It's okay. It's okay. I got it. I got it. So I guess we're like 15 minutes in, so I don't want this to be too long. So I guess let me jump over to the deck profile and I'll show you guys the cards and I'll talk about whatever else. All right, so I got my daughter. Hi, Emmy. Wanna say hi? You say louder? So all right. So starting off eggs, rerun. It's gonna be a little bit weird because I gotta position this on the camera properly, so I apologize. We got a 3-2 split of eggs. So we'll start off with the 3 Wanyamon. So Wanyamon, I played it because when attacking, if it has an SP trait, draw 1. I found that to be one of the biggest weird issues with the deck. You don't have enough draw power. And I guess that's because you don't, play any mem boost or anything. So you don't have any other ways to search outside of sheer draw power because your 4 Tentomon aren't enough, nor do they search enough relevant things. I would have rathered it grab like top 4 for 2 NSP trait. I think that would have been fine, honestly. I think that would have been great for the deck. Top 4 for 2 NSP. I run 2 of the Motimon because this combos really well with the likes of Eldrazi and Talakmon. Basically, it lets you play, when you play another Digimon, this Digimon NSP trait, of course, may attack. So it's really nice to be able to do the Talak play, DNA, and then be able to swing Alliance off of the NSP field spell. Honestly, I hated this card, though. I hated it almost every time. I think I attacked once. Because I just wanted, what I wanted the most was just my draw power. So I think it's a cute egg, but I don't think it's worth it over Wanyamon. Next up, we got our 4 Tentomon. So Tentomon is a search top 3 for 1 NSP, 1 Insectoid trait. It's okay. It's okay. That's it. It's just okay. It searches itself, the 2 Kabuterimon, and the 4 Mega Kabu that I decided to run, but I don't think it's worth running 4 Mega Kabu because I think Triceramon's better. It's okay. That's it. That's all I have to say about it. We've got 4 Gatsumon because it's the only other NSP rookie we can run, which is also okay. You don't care about it having blocker, but it does have reboot, and I actually do like reboot a lot in this deck so that you can be aggressive and then get a restanding Eldrazi blocker. That's about it. We've got 3 Otamamon because we got to fill out our rookies somehow. And even though this was useless in all of our matchups yesterday, it's nice because it's a floodgate. So 3 Otama. I only had 3 foil, so that's why I only ran 11 rookies, to be honest. But I'm fine with that because I heavy loaded on my 4s and I have no regrets on that whatsoever. So we've got 4 Gekomon. I decided to run 4 Gekomon because it's essentially a +1 when you Digivolve, which is nice. And it's also an on play, so you can either just drop it to cycle, or if you drop it off of Eldrazi or something, it's an additional free card back in the hand, plus the jamming inheritable. So me personally, I feel like this is a 4 of, because you need as much draw as you can in this deck. I ran 2 Tortomon. It's okay. It's another blocker. It's a reboot inheritable, and then opponent's turn, your opponent's effects can't delete this Digimon, so it's okay. That's it. I really don't have anything else to say about it. I'd actually argue that Monochromon is the best champion in the deck outside of Gekomon, because that 1 cost Digivolve is actually so clutch at times. I thought I was running 3 and I wasn't, so if I decide to keep this deck, because I'm not sure if I'm keeping it yet, I would run 3 Monochromon. I think that 1 cost Digivolve is super heavily underrated. Piercing is something that can come up, but you really don't care about that as much as just being able to Digivolve for 1. Being able to do that, and then either you're choking your opponent to 1, or you're able to pull off better memory plays. Because like, if let's say you get choked to 1, you can Digivolve for 1, then Digivolve for 3. And then most times you Digivolve for 2 and you'd pass turn. It harkens back to the eras of old when 1 cost of Digivolves were great because you could set up in raising and end up with a level 5, even though you had no inheritables. Piercing inheritable, like I said, it isn't much, but hey, it's something. I was trying out 2 Kabuterimon. I think this is okay. I don't know. I'm not sold on it. It's just okay. On play, when Digivolving, you may suspend the Digimon, and then you return this Digimon gets 2000 DP. It's okay. Starmon's here. I'd argue this is probably the other, like, if I were to cut other things, I probably wouldn't cut Starmons. I like Starmons. On play when Digivolving, you get to neg 3k on one of your opponent's Digimon for the turn, so you're able to get rid of Floodgates. And then it has Barrier as a inherited, which is super nice because you can be aggressive if you don't have jamming. So that's nice. It's nice. So for our level 5 lineup, I think I run like 10. We went with 4 Mega Kabu. I went with 4 Mega Kabu because of Tentomon, and because I thought Fortitude would be a lot more prevalent than it actually turned out to be. Fortitude, for those of you who don't know, is when the Digimon would be deleted. If it has sources, you may replay it. Cute. Not necessary. I actually like this a lot though, because this with the Kabuterimon means it's a 12k swing, because while this Digimon is suspended, gets 3k DP. So if you raise and you swing at 12k, it's super nice. I actually do like it for that. That's about it. The other two, and I'm going to keep Kabu in frame because these are the same exact cards with different on plays. Triceramon is on play, and when Digivolving, you suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, and then that Digimon can't unsuspend until the end of their turn. That's really crucial in some things because, you know, being able to prevent something from just unsuspending is really good. But these two together have the same inheritable, and so I'm not really sure like what ratio, maybe a 3-3. While the, you know, plus 3k does let you be aggressive, I don't really know how useful it is compared to just being able to have an extra, you know, suspend something and then it's not able to unsuspend. I definitely think 6 is where I'd want to be on these though. I don't know. I really don't. You know, that's just what I'm thinking. Jagamon, I could definitely see myself playing 3 of these if I continue to play this deck. On play, you de-digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon, which is really nice. Gets around protection. Well, some protections, depending on what it is. Then opponent's turn, all your Digimon with the NSP trait gain a blocker. So that's really, really clutch, really useful because you can give your big body to lock blocker. You can give everything that doesn't have blocker. So it makes use of your field. But space is hard because, you know, I just showed you like 6 of the Mega Kabus and the other one, which I think are important. Maybe you could run 5 and run an extra one of these, but it doesn't have an inheritable, which kind of sucks. We've got 1 Shogun Gekomon. Shogun Gekomon is cool. It's nice. Wasn't useful in any particular matchup that I was playing. That being said, the fact that your attack targets can't change is really good, and I feel like it warrants the spot as a one of. Also on play, being able to say one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers can't suspend, so the end of turn can be really nice. And one card I really adored was my one of Piximon. I was only playing this just because I was trying to see like which ones of what I liked. I liked Piximon a lot more than I thought I would because it enables you to do some really stupidly aggressive plays. Being able to either, whether you're hard dropping this off Eldrazi or Datalak, or even digivolving this and raising, come up and swing. If this gets deleted, you get to spit out a 4-cost or lower body from your hand, and that body being something like a Gekomon to get you a draw, or some other things, or even better, giving resilience to your board in the way that like your opponent's like, if I deal with this, you know, what can they spit out? You know, I could spit out the blocker, not Jaga, I forget what it is. It's a Tortomon. Spit out a blocker Tortomon, or a Kabuterimon that can suspend something. Or on my turn, just being proactive, being able to get that extra draw off of a Gekomon and then trying to digivolve and do things further. I really like this as a one-of. I never digivolved this as like on top of my Eldrazi or anything, so I never got the inherited, but the inherited is really clutch, being able to neg 4k on one of your opponent's Digimon for the turn. Next up, we've got Eldrazi himself, the moving turtle, is he king of nature spirits? I have no fucking clue. Which is, so blocker on body, on play when digivolving, you reveal top 4, play a total play cost 7 worth of NSP trait Digimon. Without paying the cost, and you bottom deck the rest. So in an ideal world, you're dropping, depending on what you're playing against, you either drop a level 5 body so that you have an ace play, or you're dropping a level, basically 2 bodies between your rookies and your champions. Or if you're trying to pull off a Tlock play, you would drop an ace and then use the end of turn to have 2 of your NSP trait Digimon DNA. So that can be really useful. I mean, this is the linchpin of your deck. Your deck does not work without Eldradimon. And this is what I was saying earlier, that like, I really agree with what my boy Cliff said, that it sucks that this is both the, like, it's the best card in the deck, which is good and bad. It's like, this is it. You know, it really is Eldradi or bust at times, because you never want to Digivolve your ace normally, generally speaking, and especially not just having a body to just sit there and give your opponent free memory for removing it. So you kind of need to see Eldradimon, but sometimes Eldradimon can whiff, and then it's like, oof, I got no value off of that. And that's something to consider, but it is the nature of, you know, gotcha decks, right? Next up, we've got 3 of the Saber Leo Ace. Like I said, I like Saber Leo Ace a lot because it is a -8k, which is big because it removes most level 5s and lower. And depending on what your opponent's doing with their level 6, it can remove level 6s if they're swinging into something, or if they don't have like jamming and they're swinging into security, you can take the chance, neg it, and then hopefully it dies to something in security. And then the when Digivolving and when attacking is that you suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. If they have no unsuspended, this Digimon unsuspends. I really wish this had blocker on body though. I think that would have made this card eons better, because it would have comboed extremely nicely with that -8k. Being able to unsuspend this Digimon so that you can then declare a block, and then also the inheritables to be able to trash security. I feel like that was just a unfortunate oversight. And we've got 2 Hercules Kabuteri Aces, which are such trap cards. I really just use these to force Tlock plays. It's 1 cost less than Saber Leo, which is nice. But in the games I played against Dan, he was playing Nightmare Soldiers. It actually was kind of helpful because it became a 4-drop, because he would have 2 bodies on board. So I play this to spend his 2 bodies, gain 2 memory, and then I'd be able to pull off the Tlock play and do shenanigans. But it's not like the greatest. It's a very situational card. It's like, for it being an ace card, honestly, this is probably one of the worst usable ace cards. Like, and I say worst usable because it's not like Metal Gray Ace, which is like completely and utterly trash. At least this one's usable, but you're never really using it for its effective. Anything, you're using it for the second effect. When this Digimon suspends, you get to give one of your Digimon 3k DP and piercing, so it becomes a 14k. And also, if you have like a blocker standing in your way, you can basically use this to suspend it down and get past it. So it's usable, but it's really not all that good. Obviously, we've got our 4 big bats to lock, and I know 4, right? Crazy, right? No, honestly, I really struggled to see this card. I struggled to see this card so much. It was really such a travesty. There are times I'm like, I run 4 of these. I expected them to be bricks in my hand. That's why I took the chance on running 4. Why can't I see them? And I just wasn't able to see them. So it's a when Digivolving, you may play 1 play cost 7 or lower NSP from your hand. If DNA, you play up to 2 with different colors from your hand. And then it's also one of your opponent's Digimon gets next 7k DP for the turn for each of your Digimon. So it's really something that's able to kind of punch your opponent if they don't have any way to prevent against DP reduction. It's a badass card. I mean, look at this art. It's so badass. It's really good. But it doesn't feel like I feel like for this having to be like the boss monster of the deck, it just doesn't feel like it does enough at times. Like, I like Aegis because Aegis sits on board. All right, let me put it a better way. When this sits on board, it's like your opponent can remove it, and then it's like, all right, cool. Because like if I don't remove it, next turn they're just gonna wipe my board again. Or wipe my board. They're gonna wipe a Digimon off the board because it's only 1 Digimon that this targets. But like Aegis Digimon, it's like interacting with your opponent's board. It's making it a little bit more of a menace outside of, oh, you know, I just get to wipe things. And I guess I could have Digivolved this, you know, for 6 on top of something. I get to play out at least 1 body. Maybe that's something to consider, you know, shifting in the style of playing the deck. But even then, it just didn't feel like something that you should do. And I know people run like Davis Memory Setter, but Davis feels bad because you're pulling blue and green and you have more green than blue. It's like you have like maybe like 5, 8 blue pieces And you also, Davis doesn't pull Eldrades, which is again the linchpin of your deck. So like Davis feels bad, and then of course last we got our 4 nature spirits. I went for uber consistency with like 4 ofs on the things that I needed to see, and it worked for the most part. So like I said earlier, while you have no face up security, ignore color requirements, security, all your NSP trade gain alliance, main, add bottom to hand and play Sisters bottom, security, play level 5 or lower NSP. So this is like really crucial to the deck, and I think all the field spell cards are crucial to their native decks. But yeah, man, it just doesn't feel like it does enough. But it feels like it's like lacking. Talak is cool. Maybe I should be spending time and just, you know, freaking hard digivolving for 6. I still get to play out the 1 body, and then I do get to do a neg 14k essentially. So maybe that's a way to consider shifting in the style of playing the deck. But even just thinking about that, it doesn't, like, I feel like this deck, it doesn't have an identity. It doesn't have a win con. It doesn't have anything where I'm like, when I establish this, I win the game. So that's why it just kind of feels okay to me. Mid. You know, a fun deck, but nothing more than a fun deck. Let me switch to this camera real quick. Hold on. Well, it just feels like a fun deck. And like, I'm the type of player that like, I really like to take my local decks, my locals level decks, and see if I can compete in like bigger events with them. But like, this doesn't inspire confidence in me. This deck doesn't tell me, I can take this and try to do something with it. Like, I felt that way about Lilith, and I love Lilith, and I'll continue to try to make Lilith work. And because I believe that Lilith can work, but I don't have that level of faith in this deck. I have more faith in a deck I haven't played in Deep Savers than I have in this deck. So just to like cap on what I was saying earlier, this deck suffers from being the first of its kind. This deck suffers from, I was made first. You would think that, like what Cliff said, you'd think with more support, the deck would be good, which is only half true. It did get better. It definitely did get better, but it didn't get what it needed for me as a player to really want to push and keep playing this deck and labbing this deck and be like, this is my deck. Like, to put it in perspective, Examon, win or lose, good or bad, that's a deck that I'll play because it got new support, and I'll keep playing it and I'll keep trying it until I can't. I had that back in BT15 with Marvel's Machines. I was playing the shit out of that. I had my theory crafts and I was working with it and I was playing with it because I believed it could do something. And I you know, it was fun, right? And that's what's important. It was fun. I don't have that in this. It doesn't inspire fun in me, which is unfortunate. So didn't mean to make this a hate piece on nature spirits. I just wanted to give my open and candid thoughts. I'm interested to hear from you guys. What do you think about nature spirits? What can this deck need? What can this deck use to really catapult it into that next level, to really take it above and beyond? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you like this video, drop a like and subscribe so that you know when future videos come out. Also, let me know what you thought of this video. Did you like this kind of talking head? Let's just talk about decks and ideas. You know? Anyways, until I talk to you guys the next time, thank you for watching and peace out. Goodbye, Emmy. Wave there. Bye.